All right. So what do you think, Elizabeth? Should we get started or do you want to wait like one more minute?
I'm happy to get started.
Okay, great. Well, we're obviously a very informal group and most of us know each other, but I wanted to officially introduce Elizabeth Stocks to our first Learn at Lunch for this new year. So TOD, Training and Org Development, does plan on having a series of Learn at Lunches will be coming your way throughout this year. So always keep your eyes out for those. But we are really excited because it's always nice when we have an in-house guru or expert, whatever you want to say, that can kind of share their wealth and knowledge about things that they're either passionate about or have a lot of information to make our lives easier. So we have Elizabeth that will be helping us unleash the power of collaboration and confidence with ChatGPT. So that's really exciting. For those of you who have never used it, you should walk away with at least, feeling comfortable giving it that try. Couple housekeeping items. We are recording this session, as you probably saw. And if you also notice, we disabled the chat function. So the reason that we did that is we want to reserve all of the questions for our demo session and the Q&A portion. So you'll be able to unmute yourself and, kind of keep the conversation, conversational and, maybe not informal, but get your questions out there in that form. So anywho, I'm going to hand it over to Elizabeth, who's going to teach us how to supercharge our workday using AI.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robin. And thank you all so much for being here. I know lunchtime is important for everyone. Please feel free to eat during this. And I hope you get some valuable information out of this and you give ChatGPT a try if you haven't tried it before or you learned something new today. All right, so ChatGPT, I'm sure everyone has heard the words. It's an AI tool that is really, I believe, the #1 AI tool out there on the market right now. It has really revolutionized a lot of companies. It's heavily used in tech companies, and I think it's slowly trickling into the education system. I know a lot of you have probably seen like really positive reviews of it and then really negative reviews of it. And I really see all of the benefits of it. It's not going anywhere, and embracing it and being able to use it to your full capacity, I think will just make you a stronger employee and will probably within the next 5 years probably be a requirement when you are looking for other jobs or within the development. I could see UCLA starting to have more courses on it because I do think it's going to be a part of our lives moving forward. And for me personally, I just want to share, I use this morning, noon, and night, not only for work, but for personal reasons as well. So I will get into different demonstrations of both ways to use this in the future. So if you haven't used it before, you can use it on your phone or on the computer. So I typically always have it up on my personal computer, my work computer, and then on my phone as well. And it's really fabulous. If you're in my department in particular, I host a lot of meetings, and during the meetings, I can actually be on ChatGPT on my phone at the same time. And it helps me as a thinking partner to strategize, how can I get the most out of this meeting in the moment? So it's really good for real time problem solving and organization. So we'll get into that soon. So one of the big topics I want to try to bring into why you should be using ChatGPT, it can foster collaboration. I would love to bring ChatGPT into meetings and make it more present because it is not just like a lot of people think of it as a personal assistant, but it's really a thinking partner. It's adding somebody into your workspace, a robot version of a person, but it is adding another coworker really. It can give you 24/7 support. You can bounce ideas. You can get somebody to be your editor at any time. there's so much you can do with it, and we're really only scratching the surface today. Um, and also, I do want to share that I am sharing the free version of it. There's a paid version with plugins, and that can be days and days and days of demonstrations because it's fabulous what it can do, and it's pretty mind blowing, especially with data analysis. It's crazy. So we'll focus on the basics today. So, particular for me, building confidence, as you can hear in my voice, is very important. And I would love for AI to be something that brings all of us up together. And it is something that it can help with team building. It can help with productivity as a team. I was just thinking when we were planning for Christmas, our Christmas party, if that was in the room, we could have had a billion more. It was a beautiful party, but we could have had a billion ideas to bounce off in an instant. And it can just completely transform event planning. I can just see this being used so much in events and transportation. So excited for everyone to really embrace ChatGPT. And personal productivity, not only would I say you can gain hours back for tasks you were doing in the past, but you can also, in your personal life, really boost your own productivity. So, um, just giving you guys some examples, planning baby showers, planning your trips to the grocery store, you can make it very easy. I might make that my example later on. It's just really, really wonderful what you can do. And it just really can make you have so much more time back in your day to focus on things that you need to be focused on. Um, I did have a very brief conversation with Eric Blue, and I did want to share the data security portion of this. I am not an expert on the data security, so I did want to share at the bottom here. Tyler will be a wonderful resource if you have any specific questions with AI and data security. And I did check, I went into the system today. You can go back in and go to the UC Cybersecurity Awareness Fundamentals course and retake it at any point if you're nervous about anything that you're doing with ChatGPT. But I would think of it as anything you type into it could go public. Nothing is private. So when you are, for example, doing emails, I would really be certain that you're not adding in last names and anything that is a private conversation, anything personnel related, do not put into ChatGPT. Think of it as like an Instagram or Facebook. If you're typing it in there, it might seem like this is just you and this computer, but think of it as something that could be published for the world to see. But a great part of that is anytime you're putting something into the system, it's growing. It's learning from everything you're typing in and learning from all of us every nanosecond. So it's pretty wild how fast it's growing because as we're speaking, I'm sure a billion people are using it right now. So any questions on the data security, I'm happy to talk about it more with anyone, but Tyler will be the expert.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Just one thing I heard from, I think it was from Lucy, the head of ITS, was that definitely all applies for like the free version that we were going to be dealing with today. But I think you do get some protections against that if you use the paid version or something. So that's something maybe for people to look into if they feel like they want to put more personal or confidential stuff in there and they want, because I don't know all the details, but I know she basically said, look, if you want to make sure, it doesn't just, go public and go to the rest of the world, you definitely shouldn't be using the free one. I just don't know how much protection you get with the paid one, but apparently that's part of that.
Okay, that's really good to know. And I'll look into that more too after this. The paid version is only $20 a month. So if that is the case, it's definitely worth investing into. And I do know they have collaborations with teams now as well that you can all be on the same thread. So I'll show you what that means once we get to the actual platform. So I mentioned this before when I was speaking, but this can create a culture of innovation, and ideas can just be flowing so much quicker when you're using ChatGPT. And again, I'm really hoping that we can start using this openly in meetings, and see how we can improve upon our culture already. So I think this is a really positive movement. And integrating it into the workflow, I would just definitely talk to your department heads and see their opinion on it. People do have really strong opinions on AI, and my opinion, we got to embrace it and make it a part of our daily lives, because it's kind of like Starbucks. It started with one coffee shop and now it's everywhere. This is going to be everywhere and a part of our work life. And now for the best part, we're going into the demo. So let me click out of this. Oh, there we go. So we are going to get started with emails. So that's a really basic way to start. And I actually just learned something new this week. It's called the 3 Ps for when you're using ChatGPT. So it's prime, prompt, and polish. So we're going to start with priming. So to prime we're starting a brand new chat here. So when you're going into it, you'll click this little button here. So you'll click new chat and you'll start your conversation here. So for starting, to prime a chat box, you could just simply say, you are a working professional communicating with staff and staff, students, and external partners. Can you help me write emails professionally and with charisma? Do you have any questions for me? So this is just a basic prompt. And one thing that I would just say about prompting is you can edit it so many different ways and make it your own. Thinking of different adjectives with your personal style, how you want to communicate. And you can, when we get to the polish section, you can definitely polish it different ways that you would like. But when you are prompting it, you have to be very specific with how you're arranging the prompt and the language you're using. And every single time you start a new thread, it completely changes. So what we're doing, once we get a couple in, we're building this particular chat will be your chat for everything moving forward, if that makes sense. So you will not be making new chat boxes for every time you're emailing. So you're setting this up so you have one thread for all of your emails and it knows you. So think of this as your thinking partner. So you have this partner with you always for your emails. So you can just send this in and it will ask you some questions most likely. Do you have a specific tone or style preference you would like to incorporate into your emails? I read this backwards before we begin. Could you provide me with some context regarding the purpose and recipients of the emails you'd like assistance with? So you can answer this any way you'd like. Just to be brief, I could say the purpose is to provide excellent service to others. I would like the emails to be done with professionalism and kindness. And again, this is something that you can completely customize. When I use Grammarly, I could have another session on that. I love Grammarly. But this is everything you do, make it customized to you. So what I'm saying right now is what I'm looking to present when I send an email, but what you like to present might be a little bit different or a lot bit different. So just know that you can customize it to make it your own. So then it gives you an example of an email. And then when you are now prompting it to give an email that you actually need to send, you could then write, I need to write an email to Tom asking him what the status is of the PD charging project. And then you can just send that in. And then now it created this email for me. So that's the prompt, is just sending this in. So now with this thread, what I would do is go over to the 3 dots, rename it, and make this UCLA emails. So then you have that ready to go. So whenever you want to send an email, you'll click on UCLA emails and you'll have this prompted, ready for you to go because you primed it. So now every time you put an email in, you'll put it into this section. So this is the email and it's lovely, but I know Tom and I know he would like it to be a quick email. So I can literally tell and polish this off. I can tell ChatGPT to make it short and sweet. And that's it.
Wow.
So it could be very efficient and you can literally customize it a billion different ways. I've played around with it. You can use it and say, I would like this in the tone of Vince Vaughn, Jim Carrey, a professor at UCLA. You can really play around with this and get really creative. But once you get your style, it will keep that in here and it will just make this so easy for you to just jump in, writing an email, here I go. So that's emails. So let's jump into a new topic. And shout out if you want a topic to be discussed while I'm in here, but I'll just jump into something I do personally all the time is meeting agendas. So I'll say you are a working professional and you need to create meeting agendas for, let's go with 14 meetings.
You know, Elizabeth, they're sharing your trade secrets now.
Oh, and this is just skimming the surface. I'm hoping to share as many secrets as I can. I know we don't have too much time, so I'll try to be quick, but this is something that, like, to me, everything that I personally do professionally in ChatGPT, I feel like they are tasks that should be done quickly and you can get to the meat of projects. So I wouldn't ever think of this as something like, oh, this is cheating, or oh, this is getting out of doing work. This is enhancing your work. You're going to be a better employee, I believe, if you can take more time to get through hundreds of emails, get through all of the projects you're working on. So definitely embrace this and don't think of this as anything that needs to be secret. I'm really hoping that this conversation today can help open this up for our department. So you're a working professional and you need to create meeting agendas for team meetings. And do you have any questions for me? And on the left here, I could have a bunch of different ones. Like, for instance, I have meetings each week that are leadership meetings, SBA meetings, meetings with professional development with others. So each different, oh, you can't see me pointing, but each different tab on the left can be particular to that specific meeting that you're working on. So they're asking me quite a few questions here, and I know we don't have too much time, so I'll just be quick with this. So says, these are some questions to help me understand your needs better. And this is all part of the priming of getting a meeting agenda together. So I could just use leadership as an example. So we are meeting, and you can answer it to make it very clear. You can answer it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or you can just give it a paragraph to be brief. I'll just give it a paragraph. We like to meet once a week as a leadership team to go over goals and objectives. Who are the key stakeholders? FMT leadership will be attending. And you can get specific in here. And when you're done with everything, I do want to mention, I know we don't have too much time, so I'll just mention it now. Whenever you're completely done and satisfied with the work that is extracted from this, edit it. Make sure that you are taking your eyes and completely making sure that it's not sounding robotic. So you are polishing it not only on ChatGPT, but once you get it onto your Word document, your PowerPoint, whatever you are doing, you need to edit it. So there's human interaction that is involved with all of this. You can't just copy paste. We see that a lot now where people are emailing and you can tell, oh, this is ChatGPT. You need to edit it. So don't just copy paste, is just what I'm trying to say. So FNT leadership will be attending. And I think that's all I want to take because we don't have that much time. This went by faster than I thought. So then it gave an example of an agenda. And for me, I'm like, oh, you know what? I use Microsoft Planner all the time. Can you make it so each discussion point uses point can be turned into a planner task?
You're muted.
Thank you. This time went by so fast because we just have 5 more minutes. I will either jump to a personal use of one, or if anybody has a prompt they would like to see. Okay, I will do another one. And then this one, remember to always rename it so that you're not starting from scratch. For that one, personally, I would start over because it's not prompted the way it's not primed the way I would like it to be primed. Because I just was working too fast, but really setting up your each of these threads on the left will make such a difference so that it's customized for you. A lot of people will just go into a new chat, copy paste an email. Can you make a response? Like that is just going to give you a really generic response. If you want to really make this work for you, you really need to go in, make a specific tailored primed chat box for you. And maybe that's something you're already doing, but that's something that is new to me. So I'm really excited about it because it can make all the difference in your productivity. So just a fun one really quick because we're wrapping up. Can you make me a grocery list for the week for a healthy Mediterranean? I can't spell. I can't spell it out. And it'll instantly create this. And then what I really like about this is instant. You can copy paste this into your notes on your phone. It's just so easy to go shopping, and you can actually say, I'm going to Trader Joe's. Can you organize it by the sections of the store? . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . and you can just continue to customize it. You can put in your allergies. You can do so many different things.
Wow.
I wish we had more time because
Hey,
I
Elizabeth, so sorry, it's Gina. I think you have your wires crossed. We have an hour for this meeting. Yes.
oh,
So,
that's amazing.
yes.
Okay, great. So I will not be
Rock on.
rushing as much as I've been rushing. This is
I'm
fantastic.
so sorry. Okay.
No, you're good. Oh, that's amazing. I thought this was a half an hour. Thanks, everyone. Okay, great. So we can jump into this a little more. This is just a personal passion of mine is nutrition. So we're just going to spend one more minute on this and then we'll go back to work. So with this, you can actually put in that you want a meal plan. I think a lot of people have goals for 2024 and maybe nutrition is one of them for you. So let me just show you how to do that in here. Can you make me a meal plan for the week that would be easy for someone that does not cook often? And I cook every day, but I'm just giving an example. So it's really easy to do this. You can just completely customize this. I've used this for creating workout plans. I have a couple of friends that I'm kind of like their nutrition coaches, and I just pop things into here and get answers back to help them with their journeys. And it's just a fantastic tool. But let's jump back now that I know it's not ending in a minute. Let's jump back to the work life. So going back to meeting agendas, another big topic that I do like to use ChatGPT for is getting the notes back from a meeting and cleaning them up and sending them back out to everyone. So in doing that, I don't have a sample out, but you can get that primed so we can just go over the flow. You are a note taker for meetings throughout the week. Can you help me polish my meeting notes in a way that is simple for everyone to follow with clear action items? And then again, what's really important to say is, do you have any questions for me? And this will just really get it primed for knowing what you need for your meetings. So it says, I'm happy to help. Before we begin, could you please provide me with a current draft of your meeting notes? Also, it'd be helpful to know the main goals or objectives of the meeting, key discussion points, and the desired outcomes. Finally, do you have any specific formatting preferences or any particular style guide we should follow? So then you can pop in a draft of any of your notes. I closed everything down and I made everything messed up over here, so I'm not going to go into my actual documents, but you can just pop that into here and it will adjust it and make it beautiful. But I can say, can you give me a sample? For a charger. So then it can create this for you. And then you can look through it. It's really important when something is created to not just copy paste, to really refine it in the chat box. So going through this, the agenda, review current EV charger infrastructure, discuss challenges and opportunities, determine action items and responsibilities. So this looks good. You can go in and see like, oh, like this doesn't work for me. This does work for my team. And one thing that I like to do, when I'm putting in my notes, I like to separate, okay, these action items are for Darren, these action items are for Clinton, these action items, you can completely separate once you actually have information in here. I'm hoping that makes sense. And I have a lot more time than I thought, so let me think of more to do. And again, on the left here, we can delete this one. On the left here, you can rename to make it easy on you. So this is meeting notes. Okay. That's meeting notes. Okay, and then for a new chat, one thing that is new to me is project management, so we can go into that world really quick. So one thing that you have to do when you're starting a project is create a project charter, and this can create one for you. So a scenario that we can pop in here is you are a project manager and you need to create a project charter. You are putting in 50 EV chargers throughout Los Angeles, and you need to organize each step of the process. This is super basic. And then you can say, do you have any questions for me? And it's going to ask a lot of questions. And that's where this all comes in. So this is really helpful because then you can go into your first meeting with your team and get these questions answered. So this will really help you in the sense of knowing where to start, bouncing ideas with the system. And you can actually take project objectives. What are the primary objectives or goals of installing these EV chargers throughout Los Angeles? You can actually take this question and say your team have no idea. You can take this into a new chat. Make it an expert and push this through. And you have 1 million answers.
Oh.
So as you can see, this is just something that can completely transform projects. And to be honest, as I mentioned earlier from the podcasts I'm listening to, there's so much more to ChatGPT than I'm even demonstrating right now. And it's constantly growing. And once you get into the paid version, it can project PowerPoints for you. It can project Excel models for you. You can pop in data and it'll give you data analysis with graphs. Another thing that I learned from the last podcast, you can, if something's already on the internet, it's on the internet. I do know ChatGPT, all of the information is from September 2022. So a lot of it is dated, but when you go into the paid version, you can have it live searching. So it's current information. And you can go into the paid version and you can actually send it a link to, for example, say you had a whole report, sustainability report, and you can pull data from it. You can pull anything that has anything to do with a project you're working on instantly. It can read thousands of pages in 15 seconds. It can just do so much. And so I'm just saying, like, everything we're doing today is just scratching the surface. And I'm hoping this is already mind-blowing, because to me, when I first started using this, I was just shocked at everything it can accomplish. Just checking in if anyone wants to see any scenarios live.
Can I share something?
Yes.
I noticed during your demonstration you haven't stated whether or not if you need commands when getting ready to generate, like an email or something. Because how I use it is that I would type in compose
Mhm.
with colons, and if I started an email, I would copy and paste it in there, and it would just reconfigure my whole email. Just giving it a little bullet points of what I'm, trying to get, like bullet points of the gist of the email, and it just composes it. So it's like quick, fast, it do it, and I'm on to the next. It's like, I love it.
Yeah.
Ever since Gio introduced me to, I think it was both you and Gio, about GP chat, I just
Yeah.
been loving it. I use it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually, my former coworker showed it to me. And then when I learned about it, I instantly thought of Gio because he
Mhm.
deals with so much customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've seen the email difference, but it's like he's a fantastic writer to begin with, but
Mm-hmm.
just for the volume that he's
Mhm.
producing of responses, he
Mm-hmm.
can get out such professional, thorough emails. So it's really a game changer for
It
operations.
is. It is. It
It's
is.
fantastic.
I love it.
But like what you said with emails, that's exactly how, prior to this podcast that I listened to this week, how I was setting up emails, I would just say, can you help me respond to this email? And I would usually say, because I'm always trying to present myself.
Well, see, you asking
Okay.
it a question, I would just type in compose with the colons and
That's
copy and
totally fine
paste, and it
too.
just
Yeah.
spits it out, and I'm on to the next.
Yeah. So what I learned to just make it more efficient for yourself is
Mm-hmm.
if you keep the one thread like we had here, you see like emails, and you prompt it, you prime it to know exactly who you are trying to portray.
Mm-hmm.
It can really make the emails really tailored to you, so you have less editing, so there's less polishing on these emails when they come through.
I see what you're saying.
So like there would be a difference. So if I just said, let's see, can you compose, or just as you said, compose an email, write an email to Tom on his status of EV chargers at the PD lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's similar.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say just from the podcasts I've been listening to, having it primed in just one thread will just make you so much more organized.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll continue to learn off of you, because maybe you read this and you're like, that's great, copy paste. But Tom, I know I'm just using this as an example, Tom, but Tom, he is busy. He's doing a million things at once. You want it to be shorter. This thread that I had prior should know Tom likes shorter emails.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give that a shot. And you write a new email asking Tom whether or not the charge point charger order was delivered. So it's short and sweet. Now let me ask it on just a brand new chat. Tom is not going to read all that. So it gets to know your people. It gets to make it so that you are not like a vet. I'm sure you'll go in and you'll take all of this and you'll go and make a million edits.
Yeah.
So the idea of having a prompted chat box that's getting to know you is that you are doing less and less edits. So you can continue to refine and refine and refine. Like you can say, can you add, you could say urgency or kindness or whatever adjective or whatever way you want to deliver this email. You can continue to refine it to the way that works best for you. And it'll save all that knowledge. So starting new chat boxes constantly, you're not going to know how to find previous emails. It's just going to be really kind of difficult because you're going to have to keep telling it a million things. And by having this done, it should make it so it understands you, and it's constantly learning from you. With each sentence you type, it's learning something new. When you start a new chat, it's like you have a brand new coworker you're working with. A temp just came in. So this is like, okay, this is my coworker I've been working with. They understand me. They've been here a couple weeks, you know, or maybe a couple years, you know, they understand. So think of it kind of like that. So it's just trying to make you work quickly and effectively and not having to keep continuing to edit. And I see Raquel on the screen. Thank you for joining in. Something you can do on here is you could have a whole chat box for grants, and you can actually use this. I am a grant writer. Can you help me write a proposal to the state of California or I know this is just a weird scenario for EV chargers. What questions do you need to know? So this might help you in building out all of the questions you need to get from stakeholders. And then having this in here, you can also use this as where you keep notes. So keeping it really efficiently organized here on the left is really huge, because then you can run back to this and get ideas pretty easily. So let's see here. So project scope. And again, I don't know if you were here earlier, but you can take, if you have questions about something, so this question here, this is something that you can actually take into another chat box. That's something I would do. You can add it here, but then prompt it prior. Can you give me, let's see what measures are being taken to minimize environmental impacts of the project, such as renewable energy sources or selecting. There's just so many different ways you can play around with this, and it can.
This is great.
It's really great.
So I have a question. If I'm doing like research, grant research, I can kind of use one of the chat boxes as like a brain. Like if I'm reading and there's things that stand out to me, I can just type them in, have the chat kind of store it, and if I ever needed to generate something with all of that information, you could just do that, right? Like that's really, really helpful.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. The other day, there was a code. Oh, it was with I was at the transit yard, and we were looking through what was requirements of pre-trips in the state of California for drivers. And there was different information in different places. And while we were talking, I had it go in and do all the research really quickly for me. And you can copy and paste, I said this earlier, but you can copy and paste thousands of pages and you can ask it to deliver just the content you need out of it. So it can cut your research time into 15 seconds if need be. And also when you get information like this, like for me personally, there's some topics that come up with EV charging and I don't understand them myself. So I can go into ChatGPT and say, can you explain this to me as if I did not understand EV charging? So it can like be customized so that the language is different. I've played around with it where I've said, can you explain this to me as if I was a kindergartner? And it's a pretty funny response. But I'm hoping you can kind of see the gist there, that you can take information and dissect it in different ways. You can also say, can you make this into short bullet points, only including high level information. So if you're just like, boom, boom, I need to give some answers on something that you're researching, you can instantly just send those in. But playing around with this is what everyone has to do. Because as I just prompted it, you are going to prompt it very different ways, and the information you're putting in is going to be very different from what I'm putting in. And like the language is so important in this. Every way you word it will give you a different outcome. And you can go in like I'm doing here. You can go in, just jump in, like you're on the fly, you need an answer really quick, just jump in, start a new chat. But I'm really inspired by this podcast, that having these primed chat boxes will just make everything more efficient. And then I do want to really touch upon, like with emails, that you really have to polish it. So once it gives you the results, you want to make sure that it sounds like you and not a robot. Because again, I see a lot of people that they'll have these generic responses and it just doesn't sound like them. So so I was composing this as an actual email in my inbox. I personally probably wouldn't say this. I do want to make sure he's doing well, but I just want to make it short and sweet. And then this to me sounds a little robotic. It depends on all of your relationships with people. So you don't want to send something to your coworker that you talk to every day, and you don't want to sound like you just copy and pasted and you didn't care. Taking the time to edit, you're going to make a huge difference in building your relationships. But what this should be doing is giving everybody the confidence that they can compose an email quickly that gets the point across that they're trying to get across. And also something for me that I would like to share as well. Perhaps I could be too informal. So I prompted this at the beginning to say I would like it to sound very professional. So it depends on what your audience is. If you are trying to reach out to students, you might have a completely different email. So let's say Tom is actually a student at UCLA, and I would like to sound more relatable. So you can see what it says. So it's a little more informal, but you can just continue to play around with it. to your audience. I know a lot of us work with outside vendors, so you can completely make a whole chat for like, this is going to be my, this is not obviously, but you can change it to third-party vendors. And you'll go in and know, okay, I want to talk to, I'm just thinking of chargers today. I don't know why. Not that we think about them very often. Just kidding. But we can just jump into this if that was what this topic was about, and go in really easily and get responses back that are tailored to that specific topic. Okay, now we're closer to the end. Do you guys have any questions or would like to see any scenarios or hear any of my opinions on anything?
I think this tool is awesome.
It's amazing.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer. I think for all of us with what we're doing with our jobs, it can just really transform our work days, and it can reduce stress. I know when I come in on Mondays, that's usually when all those weekend emails come through, and it's like, oh, 150 emails. Okay, it's manageable because I have this tool. And again, I also use Grammarly, which I don't know if anyone uses that. I know this is not on Grammarly, but I can just start typing and it'll transform my text to being grammatically correct. So that helps me feel more confident in what I'm sending out as well. And with collaboration, I'll share this really quick. You are collaborating with your team on a Valentine's Day party at work. Can you give me ideas for party planning? And I didn't ask if it had any questions for me, but then it would make this even better. But what I could do
So
is say,
Elizabeth,
yeah,
how did you get the Grammarly? This thing you said you're using the Grammarly
yeah. So I paid for
attached
Grammarly.
into.
It's a plugin.
Okay.
It's a plugin. So I can show you that after this meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
But it's a paid for product as well. And I think a lot of people do use it. You're gonna love it. That's for sure.
Okay.
But for this is great. And then you can say, I have a budget of $5. How can I make this party happen for a team of 3? So you can see it can just give you ideas pretty instantly. And the paid for version, I'm really thinking that's the route everyone should go if it does provide more protection for your content. But the paid for version will spit out this information even faster. So if you thought that was fast, it's designed to be even quicker. So there's a lot of benefits for going for the $20 a month version. Anything else? We have 3 minutes left.
So regarding emails, if we wanted to respond to an email, is the quickest way just to copy the email from your Outlook and put it into the chat and say, can you answer this email? Or is there like an automatic thing where it automatically reads your emails, or how does that work?
Yeah, so kind of what Yvette said, you can just pop in and create a new tab and just, can you respond to this email, compose this email, and then it'll give you a full response. What I was saying before with this is having all this knowledge in this chat already, it'll kind of get a sense of the tone and style you're trying to deliver to perhaps your clients. So it's just going to be that much faster. And like, I'm just thinking of an example for you. Can you help me write an email asking for event space at, trying to think of anywhere on campus. At Strathmore. That'd be not fun, but. So I can just generate that
Okay.
for you. Or like you said, if you had, say you had a long email, you can copy and paste that in, but I would edit anything that's sensitive or confidential out of it because I'm not sure if you were here at the beginning, but I did share that everything that you're typing into this free version in particular, it is going into this ChatGPT database and could be public. So you just want to be careful with sensitive information. So if, say you had a full email and you were writing to a doctor on campus, you would just remove his name and then edit that back in when you're composing it in Outlook. Did
Okay.
that answer your question?
Thanks. Yeah.
Anything else? I can literally do this for hours. So if anybody has any particular questions or they would like one-on-one time, or I can help you set up all of the different subjects, let me know and I'm really happy to help.
That's
Thank you,
great. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, maybe we can have you back for a round two. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of interest moving forward. And like you said, you just scratched the surface. So, you know, maybe we can jump on your schedule and figure out another time that we can, you know, dive a little bit deeper. So anyway, so possibly more to come, everybody. But thank you again, Elizabeth. We will be putting this on the intranet. So please let coworkers or, you know, people that you work with know that if they weren't able to attend, that it will be living on the intranet. So safely, probably by end of week. So anyways, but thanks so much for attending. We really appreciate you carving out that time in your schedules. So that's it.
Thank you so much.
For joining.
Thank
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.